The following program contains names, places, and events that have been anonymized or fictionalized for the purposes of protection and safety. The following program is provided for entertainment purposes only, and any commentary from the hosts are strictly conjecture and should not be held as making any definitive statements about the truth or identity of any particular individuals or circumstances. If you or a loved one are involved in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 for support.
Good Monday morning.
Hello. I'm a little sick, but
I'm sorry. I hope you feel better.
no, it's fine. I'm just warning the people for the voice,
In case I sound pretty bad.
Maybe I'll sound sexier.
Well, a raspy voice is usually sexy. So last week, you guys, the last 2 weeks were pretty heavy with a lot that happened in the Farmers Only episode. So we kind of wanted to use this week to lighten it up a little bit with the Mackenzie Undercover. And we know you guys love the Mackenzie Undercover story.
I'm so excited, and I don't know what to expect because you won't tell me anything.
So Hannah's not allowed to listen to my Instagram videos because that way she doesn't know like what the stories are about. So
I mean, I still have.
she cheated, but she hasn't.
But
You haven't heard this one, right?
How many PI stories have you told on Instagram? Like 100?
There's like 84 or something.
Damn.
Yeah, there's a lot.
84. How
Mhm.
many PI cases do you think you've been on in your career?
Oh my God, over 10,000 probably.
What?
Yeah, over. Well,
I guess some of them are
that's
probably quicker than others.
18 years, and that's like I think of a different. Gosh, I wouldn't even know how. It's well over 10,000. Like, there's a lot.
She's put her 10,000 hours in, that's for sure. She's a
Yeah,
pro.
for sure. 1,000,000,000,000%.
Well,
That's
that's
like
nice for
2
me to
years worth
hear.
of work, if that.
We'll never run out of Mackenzie Undercover stories, I think.
I don't know. Like sometimes I think about these stories and I'm like, that's stupid. Like I want to be entertaining. Like I want to tell the stories, but also you want to be entertaining. I'm like, there's nothing interesting about that story. And then
Okay, how
somehow
about
I'm
you
like,
let us decide?
exactly, because
How
I
about
post
you
it
just
and
tell it?
every time people are like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I'm like, really? Like it's just so weird. Also, you guys, thank you so much for being here. And also sign up for Patreon if you haven't already. Do the Patreon. You get extra stuff there too from me and Hannah. So
We just put one out last week.
yeah, on last Wednesday. So, okay, let's get into it. So, usually on the Mackenzie Undercover stories, it's like the ones that I tell on the podcast. This is the dating detective. So, it's usually about like relationships and scandal and stuff like that, right? But most of my work is actually like workers' comp fraud and like liability cases. And
So you think.
so you think, yeah, exactly. So there are a lot of cases where where it turns out to just not be that. Anyway, you never know what's going to happen on the surveillance. So, anyways, I'm going to take you on this story. And I think it was probably so far, it's probably one of the top like, episodes of this year so far. So it's a great example of your neighbors knowing everything about you. And this case really takes a turn. So I'm going to need you to hear me out. I'm working a workers' comp case, which is, like I said, is super common. It's just a regular, like, person gets hurt on the job, whatever, they're suing, they want, a bunch of money. And it's my job to go out and document the activities of these people. It's my job to just simply see what they are doing and report it back to my client, who is usually the insurance company or an attorney or whatever. Okay. So it's like workers' comp. There's some fraud, some crimes, stuff like that. So there's not a whole lot of cheating scandals, or this one's interesting. So I do this case and it starts totally normal, which basically is me getting to my subject's house early in the morning, like 5:30, 6 o'clock, if not earlier.
Oh,
It's dark out. And normally I just find the house. I park on the side of the road, just like normal, just kind of try to blend in with where other cars are parked. And it's early as crap. No one really does anything that early. So I didn't have my camera up and like ready to film anything. Like usually I sit with my camera in my hand, but I didn't have my camera. I didn't have it out of my bag yet, right? So I get to work and I post up and I'm waiting for something to happen. Mind you, it's dark. It's like 30 in the morning. Like it's
and
still the
you
middle of the night.
hate coffee too? How did you do this job?
Well, at first it was 5-hour energies and then it was just like water. Like I just drink water. It's crazy. I don't know. Everybody's like, I need coffee that early. I'm like, not me. It's disgusting.
She's amazing.
So I'm at work. It's dark. My windows are dark and I can't see anything. So I turn on the dome light in my car when I got to work to find my camera, right? So I turn on the dome light and it's just like it's not super bright. It's just enough so I can search around whatever. So I just want to turn it on, find my camera, like eyeball it and grab my camera. This like I see a garage door opening, right? So when the garage door opens, I think it's my guy's house, but I can't tell because it's dark, but the light's on. I need my camera. So I find my camera. I turn the dome light off right away. It was just a couple seconds and I'm ready to videotape whatever's happening. Okay.
And
So
for
like,
anyone who's new, you use like a camcorder, like old fashioned kind of
think of
home
like
video.
like a Sony Handycam, like a teeny tiny small, like it's just around. It's like a little barrel. Well, Panasonic is the one I use most, and then Sony's okay too. But yeah, it's just a little handy cam, teeny tiny little thing. So, anyways, I turned the light off. I'm ready to videotape, and the next freaking thing I know, I'm getting someone knocking on my window. Okay, and people don't normally like. They do not, it happens a lot. Like they do knock on my window, but it's never like super dark out. And it's usually like in the middle of the day. And it's when I can see what's going on around me, scared the ever loving bejesus out of me. Right. So I jump and I'm like, holy crap. Well, I get quiet because I just like freeze and I'm like, what's going on? Now, mind you, my windows are super, super dark, like double limo tent, blacked out. It's dark. All I can see is a dark shadow outside my window.
Oh,
It's not even an inch from my window. And I'm like, what do I do? Well, I'm scared. Like, does this person want to kill me? Because, like, bring it on. Like, one of us is going home today and it's going to be me. So I'm ready to fight. Right?
Oh my
Like,
God.
so I don't know what's like, my mind goes to the absolute worst. So, anyways, I hear this voice. Hello. Hello. I know that you're in there. What are you doing in there? And I'm like, okay. Legit, this is Mrs. Doubtfire. Okay. So this, you can clearly tell. I'm like, okay, this is an old lady. So immediately I'm not scared anymore. Like, I'm so glad I did not have to fight an old lady. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah, we don't want that to happen. So anywho, so she's just being nosy, wants to know what I'm doing. I'm like, this is fine. I can handle her. Like people knock on my window all the time. They want to know what I'm doing. She's an older lady. I got this. So I roll down my window like 3 inches, just enough to talk to her and disarm her, let her know that I'm just a girl. Like most of the time people get disarmed
Hey,
by that.
girly, sorry,
Yeah.
just doing my makeup in the car.
Exactly. And she's like, hello. And she puts her mouth at the crack of my window. Like her lips are inside my car. And she's like, what are you doing in there? And she's like so close. Like she just, what are you doing in there? She wants to know. So I'm like, no big deal. So I just tell her, I'm just a private investigator. It's no big deal. Like,
Oh, you told her.
sure I did. I didn't want her to get all scared and call the cops because
Yeah.
even though if the cops come, like I'm not doing anything illegal, the cops aren't allowed to ask me what I'm doing there. I'm not allowed to tell them. So they would have had to leave anyways.
But then there's cops on the street.
Exactly.
And it raises
And
alerts.
Exactly. It just brings attention that I don't want. So even though I'm legal, I just don't want to make a scene my first day on the case. Like I have a lot of work to do, right? So this lady is like 100. Okay. So she's old as Methuselah. And I'm like, this lady's old.
Good for her, honestly.
Right.
Going
exactly.
up to a tinted windowed car that's probably not intimidating. And she's like,
my point exactly. So she walks up to this car. She's old as Methuselah. And I'm like, she came outside in the dark. She's out here all willy-nilly. She don't care. And it's basically the middle of the night to knock on a stranger's car window. And I was like, she's not scared. She's nosy. Like she's already decided that she will risk her life to find out what's going on. Like she's going to find out some information, right? And I'm like, I like her. Like,
I respect her.
This is a lady who is not scared to get some information. So I decide that I want to get some information too. And so I decide I'm going to use this opportunity to kind of ask her about some of her neighbors. Now, at this point, it's a workers' comp case, right? So I just figure I can learn a little bit more about my guy by asking about all the neighbors. And then she doesn't know like who I'm asking about. So I see that she's nosy. And so I'm like, she likes a little drama. So I said, listen, I'm not allowed to say this, but one of your neighbors is having an affair with another one of your neighbors. And so I kind of want to find out like who is who. And I said, and I wondered if you could help. I couldn't finish my sentence. She said, I know just who that is. So she starts spilling the beans because of course she knows who it is, right? Of course she does.
This is all she does all day. She just walks around, buys the little kids lemonade. And she's like, where was your daddy last night? And then everybody tells her everything because she's unassuming. Ooh,
Exactly.
Mackenzie,
So
this might be you in 50 years.
100%. So we call this lady Bertha. Okay, we call her Bertha because that's what we call them when they give information like that. Even the dudes, we call them Bertha. Okay, so of
Is there a
course she
reason?
knows. It's just because you think of Bertha, she comes outside and she knows all the neighbors.
Yeah,
it's
it
just
totally
like, it's just a
works.
name that we've given. Like in the PI community, we know her as
Bertha.
Bertha. So we become best freaking friends. Now, mind you, there's a garage door that's open down the road. Okay. And I'm like trying to see, and I think it's my guy's house, but I'm not sure. So she even says, honey, listen, I'm going to move my car. Why don't you pull into my driveway so you look a little less suspicious and you can investigate? Maybe that's going to help your case. And I'm like, well, okay then. So I'm only human. So of course I'm going to take her up on it because it'll give me a better view of my guy's house, right? So I'm like, oh, that's not necessary, but okay, certainly, let's do it, right? So she moves her car. Meanwhile, so I have this camera up on my, like, I have a little tripod with like these flexible legs, and like I attach it to the the little bars that put the headrest into the back of the car seat. And so I attach my camera to it, so it's set up, and so now I just have it videotaping straight over to my guy's house, so I don't need to worry about nothing. Like I just have it set up, and it is aiming right at my guy's house. So anyways, I pull up in the driveway. Well, she's not done. She wants to talk to me some more. So I just let my video camera roll, pointing at my guy's house. So anything that happens, I don't have to get rid of her to see what's happening. Like it's just attached to the other side of the seat. She can't see it. It's just a videotaping, right?
Incredible.
So anyway, so she comes up to my car again after she moves her car, and I pull into the driveway. So she goes on to say, I bet the HOA department, the homeowners association department, that's what she called it. Her words, not mine. I bet the HOA department called you here because I think they get enough complaints for you to investigate. So I bet it's them, but I know you can't tell me. So she thinks the HOA department has me investigating in the neighborhood, right? So I'm only human, so I have to know what she means, like what's going on. So now I really want to know what's going on in the neighborhood. Like I'm only human. I'm curious.
Me too. I want to know.
And I'm like, well, this will kill some time while I'm on this surveillance. And meanwhile, I'll find out some information about like her neighbors and, possibly my dude or whatever, right? She starts going through everyone in the neighborhood, like one by one. And I'm waiting for my guy's name, but I'm just listening intently because I'm also curious about like everyone else. Because duh, you guys would want to know too, and don't say you wouldn't. Like,
please, we're all here.
Y'all would want to know.
We're all the same.
So she starts. TJ is cheating on Mary, and I think they got another dog, but the HOA department says that you can only have 2 dogs. And so I think the third dog belongs to TJ's mistress, who sneaks over to the house while TJ's wife is at work. But I also think that that TJ is sleeping with the neighbor on the side because their dogs just know each other too well for them not to be familiar with one another. So basically,
that's her evidence for them having an affair.
Yes, is that the dogs know each other. So basically, this TJ fella's dog is giving him away that he's like having this affair, right? So meanwhile, my guy's outside in his garage. He's working on a lawnmower, right? He says, and this guy says like his neck, his back, his shoulders, like he can't do nothing. Well, he's working on this lawnmower. And I'm like, dang, well, and my video camera is just a rolling. So I'm getting video of this guy doing stuff he says he can't do while Bertha's over here spilling the beans.
This is the best little morning ever. It's an easy job.
Yeah. So she's just telling me like all the dirt about everyone, right? So, and because the freaking dog, can you not? Like, I can't even.
I just Googled myself. I found personal information. I mean, I definitely dug, but I found personal information that I don't want on the internet. Just some like contact stuff. You know what I mean? So I am using Delete Me, which we've talked about before. And I'm very excited that we get to talk about them again.
I like Delete Me.
What's Delete Me, Mackenzie?
It's basically a subscription service that removes your personal info from the largest people search databases on the web. And in the process, it helps prevent potential identity theft and doxing, phishing scams. You can choose what information you don't want online, and Delete Me will make sure that it stays off.
Yeah, and it's not like a one-time service. It works for you over time. So it's constantly like giving you updates on what it finds and what it removes. You know, it's a step. It's a step in protecting yourself, and can't do everything, but it does really good work.
Yeah, and there's more info than you think on the internet. So, like your name, your contact information, social security number, home address, information about your family members. It's all being compiled by like data brokers, and it's openly sold online, which is how, like, if you type someone's information in, it'll say, use this website and pay $5 and you can get this. That's because they're obtaining this information from these data brokers. And so anyone on the web can get your private details, which again, identity theft and harassment and all of those things that you can now you can protect your privacy. So that's why you need to get Delete Me.
Take control of your
It's
data
like
and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me now at a special discount for our listeners. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/TDD and use promo code TDD at checkout. The only way to get 20% off is to go to joindeleteme.com/TDD and enter code TDD at checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/TDD, code TDD. All the links are in the show notes.
this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. So, you guys know by now that I am an overthinker. I've openly shared that a little bit with you. And I've also been sharing a lot about my weight loss journey and some of the trauma that I've had and how it's all come together as far as what I've experienced in the past versus what I'm going through now and how that's affecting my career and being a mom and all of the things. So, all of these things combined really weigh heavy on me. So, that's why I use BetterHelp. I love BetterHelp because it helps me get everything off my chest. So we all carry around different stressors. You guys know mine. And when we keep them bottled up, it can really start to affect us even more negatively. So therapy is a safe place to get those things off your chest, get them out of you so they're no longer living inside of you. And you can figure out how to work through whatever's weighing you down. So BetterHelp gives you the tools and the resources that you need to solve those different problems. And they help you find workarounds and all these different great tips that they can give you that can really, really help you pinpoint what's going on and how you can use those tools in your everyday life to help take those stressors away from you. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced like major trauma. These are things that can be really minor in your life that you just need to talk about. So if you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's all online. It's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. When you go online, you just fill out a brief questionnaire and you get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can change your therapist at any time for no additional charge. So get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/TDD today and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TDD. So my guy's outside. He's in the garage. He's working on this lawnmower. He's got these claims, whatever. He's supposed to be wearing a neck brace. He can't get out of bed. He's picking up the lawnmower like from the front. Like he is just going. Well, now because he's outside doing these things, I got to keep videotaping. So I need to keep old Bertha talking because as long as she's talking, I can keep recording. My videotape keeps going and I'm enjoying what she has to say, right? So I'm still recording. Well, she's going down the neighborhood and she's spilling the ever loving beans, the dirty secrets of the skeletons, every house on her street. She knew all the kids in the neighborhood, like what kids were making out with who. And like she knew too much for even for my comfort. Like, but also I was
You're like,
impressed.
Are you bugging all of these homes? No,
Right?
she probably
Like
just
she knows that. Well, apparently she doesn't sleep because she's up in the middle of the night. She knows what's going on. Well, then she gets to my guy's house and starts talking about him. And she's spilling her guts like crazy. So this fella, she said that at one time she was friends with his wife and they would go to the flea markets a lot together. And the wife basically told her that the husband was a scammer. So she's basically acknowledging that he's, scamming the insurance company for money or whatever. But not only does he do that with the fraud claims to get a bunch of money, but he also does BMX racing, like with the bikes. Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like the bicycles.
Yeah. The bikes that are like too small for the bodies of the men,
So not only does he scam, but he does the BMX bikes, and he's not supposed to be doing them. And she knows it. Like, she knows that he's scamming, right? So the BMX bikes, the small, but like you said, the small bikes that,
Yeah, they're
and then you
like
do
really tiny.
yeah. And you do like the flips and the jumps, and it looks like they have like plastic rims. Like, it's really weird, right? Well, he goes every weekend, and she knows that because her nephew's best friend is the neighbor of my subject. Okay. So she knows this. You want to do another diagram?
I might.
So anyway, so her nephew's best friend is neighbors with the subject, and he does the BMX bike racing too, right?
So they're BMX buds. Okay. Even though the guy has a broken every bone in his body.
Exactly. Okay. So they go every weekend. She knows that because her nephew's best friend is the neighbor. So the subject, the husband, which is my subject, told the wife that she couldn't hang out with Bertha anymore because he thought that Bertha was trouble. Like, he doesn't trust Bertha, whatever.
Because Bertha's on to him.
Yeah. And so she explained that the only time that she could hang out with the wife was on the weekends when the husband goes to the BMX. So she was hanging out with the wife behind the husband's back, who goes and does the BMX, right? But she made sure to let me know that there was no hanky panky. Like, she's like, listen, there's nothing going on with me and the wife. I am strictly dickly. Listen, this lady's like 100 years old talking about I'm strictly
Hey, I would
dickly.
not put it past Bertha because she knows everybody else's business, so she probably knows how to cover up her own.
Yeah, like, she's like, I want to make it clear. But have you ever heard that come out of the mouth of an 80-something-year-old, right? Like, we're just all out here willy-nilly having tea and crumpets and like whatever. Anyway,
and she's like, by the way,
she's by the way, I am strictly dickly. And this guy's over here working on his lawnmower. My videotape's going. So I ended up coming back on the weekend in case Bertha was right, like about him because I wanted to catch this guy doing these things that he says he can't do according to the insurance company, right? So I'm like, I'm going to come back on a weekend, no problem. And so when he goes to BMX, I'm going to be there, whatever. So I come back on the weekend to do more surveillance because Bertha spilled the beans, and she said that his little, he's got these little BMX capades going on, right? So I'm like, all right.
That was good. That was good.
I was like, that was a good word. I thought that was clever. Well, anyway, so it turns out she wasn't wrong. So I'm doing surveillance on my guy.
Of course she wasn't wrong. She's Bertha.
Exactly. Bertha's never wrong, right? So I'm doing surveillance on my guy, and him and his neighbor, which is Bertha's nephew's best friend. They load my subject's truck up with their bikes. They're carpooling, and like, it's smart, right? They're going to go to the BMX together because that's what they do. Okay. So they didn't go straight to the track. They stop at a private residence and they pick up a young lady, but her BMX bike also. So they pick her up and the BMX bike. And I'm like, okay, this tracks. She does the BMX too. No big deal. Like, this is just just another friend. They're carpooling to the track. So, well, they get to the park, they get out of the truck, and I start walking up to the bleachers, or like I'm pretending to walk up to the bleachers so that I can like covertly videotape him lifting these bikes out. Now, mind you, I'm trying to I don't care less. I could care less like what he's doing on the side. Like, whatever. I just wanted to see that he's like lying to the insurance company. That's my job. Like Paul Blart, observe and report, like Paul Blart minus a whistle. Okay. Like, that's what I'm doing. Like, so I start walking up to the bleachers, or at least pretending to, because I just wanted to get the videotape. And so as I'm passing by them, the subject gets the girl's bike out of the truck. He places it on the ground for her. And she says, "Thanks, baby." And like, I'm like, wait, okay. Like, I call people baby sometimes. Like, I'm like, "Oh, thanks, baby." Like, like it's just something, it's just a term of endearment that I use. But this was different. This was like, Hannah's not feeling well and her voice is a little raspy.
Thanks, baby.
Yeah, it was very, and I was like, But I was like, well, the other guy is with them. So surely not. Like, surely they're not like just having an affair all willy-nilly in front of God and literally everyone in the neighbors.
Hey, we've had thruples, we've had sister wives, we've had all kinds of things. You never know.
But surely this isn't happening. So anyway, so she says, thanks, baby. Well, so the neighbor kid, like he cuts his eyes over, like, what the hell? Like he heard, like he heard what happened. He like I saw his face and I was like, that's new for him too. Like he that's not something that he's familiar with, right? Like it was an instant reaction. So he looked, girl, when I tell you he looked confused as a chameleon in a bag of Skittles. He didn't know what color to turn. He was just like floored. Like he just did not know what was going on.
He was like, wait till I tell Bertha.
Yeah, like you could see all the thoughts running through his head. Like am I like an accessory to like this love scandal?
Yeah.
Like you could see it go through his head. Like I remember.
Well, that
like,
also makes it confirmed for you in a way where you're like, oh, this is obviously something that's not supposed to be happening.
Yeah, and I was like, because at first I was like, oh, no big deal because they're with this other fella. But they are literally with this other guy. And I'm like, does this guy know? But then I looked at his face and he's like, am I going to get in trouble? Like, am I going to go to jail? Like, am I breaking the law? Like, he was nervous as a cat in a room full of rocking chairs. Like, he was nervous. And I felt bad for the guy, right? Well, guess what?
I can't. I truly can't.
He's got a little BMX girlfriend. So I call her the BMX boothing. So anyway, so they all take their bikes. They go to the staging area. Like it's like you take your bike like up this ramp and that's like where you put your bike. And so when you're waiting for your turn and then you take your bike down the ramp and woo, and you do all the what's it called? The Tony Hawk tricks or whatever. Is that bikes? What is that? What's Tony Hawk?
He's skateboarding, but he's probably good at bikes
skateboarding,
too.
hockey, not hockey, skateboarding.
I have a feeling he's anything with the ramp and the jumps.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So my subject, who is like has a broken neck and all these things, like he's doing like all these magic tricks and he's jumping and flopping around and he's doing spins and flips. And I'm like, great. Like this guy is legit, like evil.
I love the idea of like a person like that could see you videoing him and be like, yeah, that's right. I'm so talented that of course this hot girl wants to video me. And you're just like, ha ha ha, laughing all the way to your client. I could just so see it.
Well, what's funny is that I'm sitting on the bleachers and as a, what do you call it? As a watcher, as a, what do you call it?
Someone spectator.
A spectator. Thank you. So as a spectator, I have my video camera out and open wide, just videotaping the whole thing because, and it's the same thing with like sports ball games or anything. Like you hold your video camera up and you just videotape because you probably want to sit on the top bleachers so that people don't see who you're videotaping, but you just have your video camera out and nobody thinks anything of it, right? So I'm sitting on the bleachers and I'm just minding this fella's business, just videotaping away like all of it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And man, does he perform. Like there's this even like this steep part where he comes up and like his feet come off the thing that the pedals and he's like holding on to the handlebars, like flipping, flipping upside down all around. Like it's wild, right? You come up the hill, he's twisting the handlebars and going all willy-nilly like sideways. And y'all, I can't even do that with the not broken nothing like this. And this fella's like got a broken. So that's what I care about, right? Is getting this video documentation. But it was like, listen, it was really cool. I ain't gonna lie. Like he did a great job. Like good for him.
Good for him.
And yeah. And so he's really, really talented. I'm not gonna lie. Like he's twisting this bike all back and forth, whatever. So anyways, he finishes his stunt. He goes back to the bleachers while I'm videotaping, but also he looks at the neighbor kid and the neighbor kid looks at him and I'm just watching everything that's going on, right? And the neighbor kid like looks at him and he's like, hey man. And he does the thing where he scoots over on the bench to be like, hey man, you can sit here or whatever. My fella walks right past him, sits next to the girl, right? Mm. So he finds his little BMX boo thing and he goes and sits by her. Okay. So he pops a squat next to her. Well, the neighbor kid was watching like to see where he was going since he wasn't the one sitting next to him. Well, my guy kisses BMX boo thing on the mouth.
Oh,
now, mind you, my subject, this BMX Tony Hawk fella, like he's married and his wife is his wife is secret friends with Bertha.
Oh,
So
this
he
is
needs
not
to
the
be
kissing
careful.
that I like, and he's not being subtle about it.
And
He doesn't give a rat's ass who sees.
He really don't. And so, but this is no, so now you're thinking like this is why he told the wife not to hang out with Bertha. He knows that the neighbor is Bertha's nephew's friend. Like he's not stupid. Like it don't take a rocket surgeon, right? So he
Yeah.
kisses Boo MX Boo thing on the mouth. Well, the neighbor kid, his mouth was agape. Like he was just like jaw on the floor. Like he looks and sees what he does, and he's like, and you could just see it. You couldn't audibly hear him gasp because he was too far away, but I could hear it like in my head because I could see it. And I saw his mouth, and I just saw his mouth drop open. And this guy is closing his eyes and looking at them. And he does that. You know how like in cartoons, they don't believe what they see. So like they shake their head real fast and open their eyes again. That's exactly what he did. It was like watching a cartoon. Like he is floored, right? Oh, SpaghettiOs, right? So this kid just turns around like nothing happens. And he's like, I'm going to pretend I didn't see that, right? So Tony Hawk and his BMX Boo thing, they just sit there snug as a bug in a rug on the bleachers, right? So they kept sneaking off to like behind. There's like, so like there's a built like a brick building on the side of this, like outside the bleachers. You know how at a sports ball facility, like at a park or whatever, and they have like
they have like a snack bar.
Yeah, like a snack bar, the bathrooms, all the things, and they kept sneaking off back there. Well, meanwhile, the neighbor kid, he goes out there, and you could like he was distraught, right? So he goes and does these tricks, and while he's on his bike doing his tricks, he's looking at his friend, like he's trying to find out like where his friend is. He ends up like falling off his bike. He ends up getting hurt, like because he's distracted, like he's disturbed. He cannot concentrate, right? So he bent one of the rims on his bicycle. So they end up having to go home. So they all load the bikes up. And this guy looks like a deer in the headlights. Like this neighbor kid is like, oh my God. Like he is just like.
He's having the worst day, it sounds like.
His eyes are big as saucers. Like he don't know what's going on. Like he don't know what to do. And like.
How old is he? You keep saying kid. Is he like a teenager?
Like in his 20s. Like,
okay.
like early 20s. Like nothing, like not super young or whatever. So. All I'm thinking is this guy is going to lose everything, right? Like, first of all, the kid is not going to not tell the nephew, right? Like, Bertha's going to find out. And then she's going to tell the wife who she's friends with. And
even if he doesn't tell the nephew, Bertha, all she has to do is ask one question. So, how was your BMX trip? And the face will give it away, and Bertha will know everything.
No, and as soon as he tells Bertha, like Bertha's going to load that up in her arsenal, and she's going to know a little bit too much more about the neighbors. Like she's going to know everything, right? So now Bertha not only knows that this guy is a scammer, like that he's scandalous because his wife admitted it. So now Bertha's going to go up on the stand, whatever. And so this fella don't stand a chance. Like now he's burned, right? So now he's going to get caught with the BMX Boo thing. And then guess what's going to happen? So then he's going to be, when I turn in my video and I document everybody who's with him and I document him with the girl, guess who's going to have to testify against him? The girl. And guess who's going to have to testify against him? The nephew's friend, like the neighbor guy. And so he is not only going to like lose his case for like all like not get these millions of dollars that he's trying to scam. Guess who else they're going to subpoena? The wife. But guess what? She's not going to be able to tell her story because like the wife doesn't have to testify against the husband or whatever. But guess what? I have Bertha's testimony, which they may or may not use in court. So whatever. So I turn all of this into the insurance company and turn my case in, turn everything in. This guy is like cheating on his wife with BMX boothing. Now you know Bertha's involved. She's going to load that in her arsenal. And then that's it. I don't know what happened. Do you guys remember the song that Molly wrote for me and Hannah? And it was so cool. She had it written by Songfinch, and she basically like gave them a whole bunch of information about us and about our journey and our podcast. And they wrote like a whole song about it. It was so cool.
It's so cute.
I know, it was so cute. And then I was able to, for my best friend's birthday, I used Songfinch to write her a song, and she loved it so much. It was so great. And I really, you guys have to try Songfinch. Father's Day is coming up. I really feel like it would be a great, fun way to connect with your dad on Father's Day.
Yes. Also, it's such a great way to say something that maybe you don't always know how to say. And you can obviously show that you put effort into your gift, you really think about someone. It's very personal and, might I add, very high quality. These Songfinch songwriters are professional songwriters and
they're
producers.
amazing.
Yeah. It's like,
And it's like an original song with original music. Here's a small clip of the song that Molly wrote for us. It was so, so cute. Listen.
I love it.
I'm so grateful for both of you. You're more than co-hosts, your family too. I never imagined what the three of us could do. Look what we've created, the three graces.
How cute.
Isn't it so adorable? You guys, I
still
telling you.
listened to it, and I followed the writer. She was so good. And it was an easy process. You just like tell them who the song's for, what style you want. They have all those genres and then some details about the relationship. And they can whip that song up, record it, produce it, write it in just 4 to 7 days.
And they have over 350,000 happy customers. They are the #1 custom music company in the whole entire world. So whether it's for Father's Day or like graduation, wedding, anniversary, or just a gift to anyone, like write them a song. It's unique and no one else will get them the same gift. And you know,
I'm
that. So
honestly
it's gonna be really cool.
imagining a wedding gift, even like if it was played at a reception, like that would be so special.
I love it. I think it's so cool. It's the perfect amount of unique and special. And like you guys, it's really, really personalized just for them.
Oh, they also have unique add-ons. So you can get a vinyl record of your song or one-of-a-kind art made from your lyrics. You can also add your song to Spotify so people can just stream it super easily.
Oh, yeah.
And
The Spotify thing is so cool.
speaking of, for a limited time, Songfinch is letting our listeners upload their song to Spotify for free. So you and the lucky person you gift it to can listen to it anywhere, anytime. And usually that costs $50, but it's going to be free. Go to songfinch.com/TDD and start your song. After you purchase, you'll be prompted to add Spotify streaming for your original song for free, a $50 value. Again, the URL is songfinch.com/TDD. And don't forget to share your song with us too. Songfinch.com/TDD. We want to give a shout out to another podcast that we think we will like. The Y Files covers conspiracies, aliens, time travel, and ancient civilizations. I mean, I love like culty conspiracy theory, anything like that. It's just juicy. It's just a little extra story juiciness that who doesn't love? Now, some people are very serious about this stuff. They believe every single detail, even if the details don't, add up. Others just tear the stories apart. But what fun is that? So the Y Files is different. First, they explore the mystery. Then together they separate fact from fiction and, see what's left. Some legends just cannot be debunked, and those are my favorites. So the Y Files is just very fun. It's available on Spotify or anywhere you get your podcasts. The X Files said the truth is out there, but the Y Files say the truth is right here. You don't know if he went to court?
Nope. No idea. I have no idea if that's literally the end. I have no idea if it went to court. I didn't hear the end of it. So I'm assuming they just like settled his insurance or whatever.
Yeah. But he probably lost a wife out of that one.
But if you know Bertha by now, I know, like, I want to go back and ask, but I'm like, also that would be unprofessional. But I feel like so imagine like Bertha knows everything, right? And now she knows because the nephew's best friend is going to tell her that for sure they was kissing. And so I feel like Bertha for sure is going to tell the wife because they're best friends behind this.
Oh no. And now Bertha will get her friend back because.
And now the wife knows why the husband thinks that Bertha is trouble because he knows that Bertha's nephew's friend is his neighbor and he does BMX with this fella. So now I imagine he probably lost all the money, but I tried to research, I tried to find out, and I don't see any documentation. So either they settled and didn't like pursue court or whatever, or it's still ongoing and this will come up later. But this was so many years ago that I don't think it will. And then that's all I know. So that's my bad news is that I don't know how it ends.
Well, man, I don't feel for him at all because first of all, why would he make out with her in front of the kid that he knows is connected to the neighborhood?
That's what I'm saying. But
the town crier.
Like literally you think you're safe because you told your wife not to hang out with Bertha? Like what?
Girl, please. So idiot. But also I was thinking about last Mackenzie Undercover episode with the sister wives all in the same neighborhood. Imagine if Bertha lived in that neighborhood.
Could you imagine? Like Bertha, oh my God. Bertha would, oh my God.
I think she would have had passed away. Like she would have been
Bertha
it would have been
would've,
too
like,
much for her.
I don't see Bertha as the type, but I think Bertha would have even clutched her pearls on that one.
Exactly. I hope
Like,
Bertha listens. I hope
she
Bertha
would
has
have
found the
passed
dating
away.
detectives because she would love it. She would love
Oh,
this.
Bertha, you know who you are. She knows
know you
she knows who she
are.
is. Like that's enough detail. Like she knows, oh, she's talking about me. She knows it. Okay, so at the end of our episodes, I love when we do the dogfish debrief. Hannah, will you please do a dogfish debrief on this Mackenzie Undercover episode?
Sure. I mean, usually our dogfish debriefs are like, what can we take away from these stories and what can we learn? My biggest lesson from this is if you say that you need workers' comp and have an injury, don't mow your lawn and go ride a bike. Like
They're all dogfish.
they're idiots. But then in terms of cheating, I mean, he was just not using his brain. And I do think it's interesting that he told her he didn't like her friendship. I didn't love that. I don't think it's
Yeah,
fair
I'm not crazy about that.
when you control your partner in that way. So if somebody ever said to me, like, I don't want you to be friends with them, I would absolutely raise a red flag.
You're like, why are you sleeping with her?
Yeah. I mean, I get it. It makes sense to sometimes be like, I don't like that person or I don't feel comfortable with that person. But saying you're not allowed to be friends with them, that's not going to fly for me. What about you? Anything else that you take away?
I mean, I feel like he's literally lying to everyone about everything. So he's a total dogfish in my opinion. But
For sure.
also as the PI on the case, I feel like Paul Blart, mall cop, observe and report. That's my only job. So on the ones that I do the surveillance on myself, I feel like I have to just
You're
be
like, I don't know.
Switzerland.
I'm just telling
That's
you.
why. That's why I wanted to hear yours because I have to be Switzerland.
Oh, he's for sure. I mean, obviously, he's not supposed to be out all willy nilly with his BMX boo thing. I love all your names. I was thinking about this. Everyone says gossiping is bad. Obviously, we know that. The Lord says
We would
gossiping
never
is a
do
sin.
that.
Gossiping is bad. However, gossiping is information. Gossiping is a resource. Gossiping is helpful in many cases. I don't know. Cancel me for saying it, but I'm pro gossip. I am pro gossip. Bertha is doing the Lord's work in many ways. And I'm sure there are times where she is going too far. And I know that. But that might be a price that we have to pay in order to get this information to the people who need it.
Y'all know good and damn well all y'all gossip. And you know what? It's funny you said that because I saw an Instagram post yesterday. I didn't save it and I should have if I had known we were going to talk about this. But someone said, it was about like relationships, like husband and wife, whatever. And she said, listen, I love my husband, but he's horrible at talk. Like he's bad at conversation. And, but the one thing we connect on is gossip. If we don't talk about nothing else, we find something to gossip about together. And that has kept our relationship alive for 20 years. So find you a man who will gossip with you. And I'm like, you know what? That's just like your best friend. You should be able to gossip with your best friend.
You should.
You should be able to gossip. And
there have to be people in your lives that you know are safe gossip zones. And you know that they're going to also be straight with you if you say something shitty. Because there's, of course, a line. Like there's a difference, I think, between gossiping in a way that is mean and gossiping in a way that is useful. And the line is blurred. I know I sound crazy. I sound crazy.
No, you don't. But along those lines, I feel like if you're with your girlfriend or with your husband and you're talking the worst smack about someone, like that's totally normal. And I think it's totally healthy. Like it's okay to have those thoughts. What's not okay is saying it out loud and being mean and, making fun of them in front of others. But if you're gossiping, like I think that's okay. Like I think what Bertha did, like she's a gossiper. Like she knows the stuff and she's
a civil servant. Molly just jumped in. She does not have a microphone, but she wanted to remind us all that gossip has saved many of the guests who have come on our show before. And
because of the gossip.
And there are many times where I wish someone had gossiped and interfered. And I'm sure there are people who are like, well, it's not my circus, not my monkeys, which in some ways makes sense. But sometimes if it's your best friend or if it's somebody in your family, okay, I'm going on tangents. I have two best friends from college. I'll shout them out right now. And I would say this to both of their faces, Ellie and Julia. The three of us absolutely gossip about each other. I know that Ellie and Julia talk about me. Julia and I talk about Ellie. Ellie and I talk about Julia. And the reason we do it is to be better friends to each other. Like we support each other. We're like, oh,
well, you can learn from it.
Right. Hannah, they're probably like, Hannah's dating somebody that is a problem and they gossip. But then they're able to come to me and be like, we talked through this and this is what like we think we need to do to interfere, or they decide not to. Like, I want them to gossip about me. We need to like gossip in order to be there for each other. Is that
I just
weird?
think I just think gossip is normal. In this case, like Bertha's gossip, like helped me learn more about this guy. And hopefully we were able to use this to like save the insurance company millions of dollars, first of all, which
And
saves us consumers millions.
And save the wife from a cheating scammer husband.
Yep. And this reminds me of do you know who Brian is? Like, have you heard of Brian?
Oh yeah, if you haven't heard of that, Mackenzie posted a great video. We should put it on our story when this comes out. It's like Brian with a Y is what it's called.
Yeah, have
So
you heard
go
of Brian
watch.
with a Y? And and now everybody it's conflicting, but it was still gossip, and it was like, well, this guy did this and what was this, and was it any of our business? Was it any of her business? No, but are we gonna talk about it? Hell yeah, because sometimes if you see something, say something.
Look, some
Whatever.
people it's not for them, and that's okay. We're all different, and that's what makes the world a better place. But there is a place in this world for the gossipers and the people who gossip for good gossip.
Also, are we dating the same guy? When they talk about like, oh, this guy's acting really weird. Have you guys heard of him? And then, yeah, the Facebook pages, are we dating the same guy? And then it has like the different cities. That's gossip too. That's all gossip.
Absolutely. I think I hate that people it's a tricky one on that, because I know that people get concerned that you're slandering, but it's not. It's just putting it out there,
Yeah,
and
there's a really fine line though.
And of course, also the thing with gossip is you have to verify for yourself. Use your head. Do not believe everything you hear. You have to have a filter and take the information, and then use your own common sense and education and who you trust.
Yes.
To figure it out.
Exactly.
We're not saying to believe everything.
Can I tell you how much I want to look up Bertha and just be like, what is she hiding?
I want Bertha on this show right now.
I want her on the show. You do not understand how many times I've wanted to go to her house and be like, Bertha, listen. And then she'll be like, my name isn't Bertha. And then she'll
be like, no,
I know her real name,
it is.
but like, your name is Bertha. Like, yes, it is. And I want her to come on the show. And so if you are a Bertha, or if you know a Bertha,
and you have gossip,
if you want to come like chat with us, like we don't allow people talking poorly about other people, but these are like,
we do.
About
if
BMX
they're dogfish, gossip away.
Well, also it's facts. Like, I'm sharing the facts about this story. Like, this is what happened. We're gossiping about this guy.
It's information.
It really is.
This is a free ad. I'm going to do a free ad right now for another podcast called Normal Gossip, which we've talked about.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't heard of it, it's as soon as you run out of Dating Detectives episodes, they're just a podcast that literally people submit gossip that has nobody gets hurt. It's truly just like topical gossip, but it's so funny. It's like storytelling like this, but just the it's so cute. It's so cute. I want to do a collab with them.
Yeah, I feel like it's not normal to be like, we don't gossip. That's not nice. Like, girl, yes, it is. Stop. It's totally normal. Go gossip with your girlfriends, but also gossiping can really help. Like Hannah said, like it really can be useful.
Yeah, just don't be a bitch. You guys are smart. We're not saying to believe everything. Also, like gossip has a whole world when it comes to celebrity gossip and all of that. That's its own thing, and there's problems with that. We're talking about the kind of gossip that can save someone from a shitty marriage.
I want to say also, when it comes to like celebrity gossip, if it's in like tabloids and like the celebrity gossip, like magazines and stuff, I don't like that particular form of gossip only because I feel like you're basically picking apart a person based on a decision they made, whether it's their hair or their makeup or their clothes or just whatever
it's usually their weight.
And their weight, yes.
I mean, we know the harm on that.
I don't agree with that. So I guess it's like, it's kind of a slippery slope.
Okay, so my thing with that is agreed. We're on the same page. But every now and then, so an example that comes up for me is Vanderpump Rules, the reality show. That is a tricky case. For anyone who doesn't know, you don't even have to watch it. It's a bunch of young people in LA. And recently there was a whole scandal with a dogfish. He was having an affair with his wife's best friend. On the show. They're all on a reality show. Obviously, it's going to come out.
On reality show and he's having an affair?
Yeah, they thought that they were like not going to get caught.
Whatever. That's like, totally scripted. There's no way.
Whether or not it is, the girl had to go to like a mental health institution.
Oh
now
God,
she has a podcast.
Are you serious?
We're gossiping right now. But I guess there's a part of me that's like, we're all going to talk and we're all going to
Totally.
do this.
It's human. It's normal.
Is it healthier to have a place like a reality show to channel it at times rather than being harmful with our words towards others? I don't know. Or like if I see something in the tabloids that is not harmful, that's not about cheating, it's not about weight, it's not about, I don't know. I can't think of a good example. There are times where I like gossip that's like, this isn't hurting anybody. It's just entertaining. And that I think is kind of fair game because it's human nature and it's almost a healthier place to put it. That's why I think we love reality shows, because I think it's human nature. And those are people that are putting themselves out there they want us to gossip. So I know people have trouble with reality shows and think it's immoral, but there is a part of me that's like, it's serving a purpose that needs to be served. And if we don't have them, is it going to be worse? Wow. This was a philosophical conversation.
I know, right? I hope that this lightened it up a little bit because sometimes these stories can get a little bit heavy. So I'm glad we were able to lighten it up a little bit this week. So you guys, if you have stories that you want to share on our podcast, or you need a voice, or maybe you feel like your voice isn't loud enough and you need a platform, write into us. Let us know your stories. A lot of people think, oh, my story's not crazy enough. This isn't about crazy stories. This is about stories that need to be told, whether it is to help other people see that, maybe kind of
they're not alone.
Parallels in their relationships. And maybe they see, oh my gosh, like this helped me see that I, should be doing this or could be doing this or whatever. You never know when you're going to help another person. So don't be afraid to share your stories. And
we just want you to feel like you have a voice and that people are listening, even if it doesn't necessarily have enough to be a full episode. Sometimes just writing it and sharing it. Like, we want to hear from you. Like, we care, and that alone hopefully makes a difference. And it's nice on Patreon. I'm so grateful for everyone on Patreon.
I love the community we've built on the Patreon. And you guys, it's only $5 a month. Like that's, first of all, thank you to everyone who's already on Patreon. But so that $5 a month goes towards like supporting our podcast so that we can put out more episodes, and it goes toward, creating more content and stuff. So we just appreciate the support. And we know that sometimes the pocketbook is like, that's hard for people, so we just appreciate that little bit of support. It just means the world to us. And also when you guys share us on your social media, that really helps also. And we're just really, really grateful that you guys find our platform and our podcast valuable enough to share. And so it just means the world to us. Thank you so much.
And leave a review, leave 5 stars.
Try to make it 5 stars, 5 stars, all the 5 stars.
And
please.
Yes, we're on social media at Dating Detectives Podcast. And if you do want to email us, the email is investigate@thedatingdetectivespodcast.com. Boo-doo. Wow, that was good though. I did enjoy that a lot. I hope that he got what was coming to him.
I kind of want to reach out to the client. I feel it's kind of unprofessional to be like, hey, so what happened? I was talking about this on the podcast and I need to know more information, but maybe I'll try to find like a tactful way to find out more.
Are you allowed to like just look at the wife's Facebook?
Yeah, but you can't tell very much from it. I tried.
Oh,
I may or may not have already tried. I've tried all the things, but I'll keep checking into it and just see what I can come up with as far as like the official records and stuff. So I'll let you guys know.
If anybody thinks they know these people, let us know.
If you are a Bertha and you've got some dirt to share, like we need to know, like we want to know.
We love you, Berthas. We are Team Berthas. I'm
going to be a Bertha one day.
Oh, we already are.
100%. Anyways, we love you guys. And as per usual, trust your intuition.
Trust it. Love you. Bye.